Debt-Free TV, in association with getoutofdebtfree.org.
Right, okay, my name's Odin Wildhunt, or Andy. It's the first time I'm actually speaking here officially, and I just wanted to bring on, I've got no presentation ready per se, but I just want to bring some information to you that you may or may not be aware of. It's directly related to the land of civil fiction globally. I would also advise that, given the wonderful meetings we've had in this room through from January, February of this year, Robbie has actually made a fantastic presentation just 2 Saturdays ago, very important with regard to the assumed position in a military land that we're in the fiction. So a belligerent at war, an occupier, and not welcome in lands allegedly owned by someone else. And that's important because there's a heck of a lot of gameplay going on now, and it will continue through from June, July, August, September on a truly global scale. It actually touched in Nottingham on Saturday last, because since I do know members of this group, but no one's actually mentioned the Nottingham casual infidels. No? No. Well, they seem to have an awful lot of energy and like to cover their faces and get really angry about wanting their country back. They were filmed by Mark Ceylon, plus a group of police that didn't have their helmets on.
Yeah.
Well, I know anti-fascists, whatever they might call it. But I tried to help because, and I'll set on mic for Mark, because we've been tracking down this for many years. It's absolutely for real. I wanted to tell you that there is a presumption that that wasn't actually Nottingham police. The jurisdiction alleged on the streets with the cameras filming
evidence gatherers.
Yeah, evidence gatherers on video. But where from, Mark? Did you work that out? Did you not get my tweet? Okay, so this is like another jurisdiction, World Police. They're called Interpol. It's all military. You track it back from the colours. There obviously will be no admittance of this from Chris Eyre or Patty Tipping, that they're allowed jurisdiction in their vans on the streets, gathering evidence on everybody. It's a European thing. It's directly related to the crap that's coming down the line. And so Interpol, if you look on certain websites, not their website, you'd find the different ratios with regard to their fear level for terrorism. Orange is, there was a certain level for the orange. EG quite possibly means European guidelines or European governance.
Yeah.
Okay, that's happening. It's really here. There was a lady murdered in Yorkshire the other day. The vast majority in how it would be put out on the media would be that it's some kind of irrational madman, mentally ill, or a terrorist. They've already found a man, sort of dressed in military gear in some ways, that seems to fit the suspicious description of someone who undertook this murder. I would tell you that the timing gives everything away, and if someone's that uneducated, that they get that passionate about a referendum is not a legally binding issue. It's not even, it's a joke, it's not even legally binding. And a referendum in the UK would have at least come 15 years ago if based on common sense and a normal element of what people might believe to be democracy. Bare minimum. Now there's a deep load of passion about that going down well, the next couple of days. That's why I just wanted to speak now. There is, I can assure you, there is a much, much bigger corporate global picture associated to everybody who's dying around the world right now, not just in wars, but say the Orlando shooting in a nightclub, set to time for processes, divide and conquer being many of them, if you don't understand the issues of religion, skin colour and sexual preference. There is more behind it. I don't care, I don't mind saying it. But we're in a world of lies, and there's a corporate plan rolling over you. It's most certainly here in the UK. And I just wanted to point that out because Mark makes an effort, at least laughingly and jokingly, because he knows that what he's seeing is a set piece. It's theatre of people you've never known or never seen, in one day and out the next. And the police website, Nottingham Police, will sell it to you as being something they were actually trying to protect the local public from. There's another question right now. One could ask why they didn't actually cancel the entire European Cup final when it's being held in a country that was placed into full-on martial law tip to toe all over the country because of another, let's just say, false flag November of last year. Okay, and then why UEFA, the corporation, has decided to bring up from 17 to 24 teams for this tournament, long prior, of which those teams would include Turkey, Ukraine and Russia in the European Cup final. There's a headline, no real surprise, it might have passed you by, but right now in Venezuela, which is a large country, they're breaking into food shops and they're basically eating cats and dogs to survive. Brazil is no different. It's highly unlikely in this very unsurreal sort of scenario globally that people are dying, that there will be a glamorous opening ceremony of the Olympic Games in Rio at the end of July. I'm just trying to prepare you, because the lies that are being told you couldn't, you just don't know the breadth of what's around you, I think. Some do. Sorry for being presumptuous in this room today. But I just wanted to tell you, now, you know, Paul is coming up with solutions with regard to what we've all been talking about here, the con on the name, basically, and the depth of that. I studied this a long time ago, so did Mark, and we've just been trying to bring the truth out to people who would otherwise not see the magic spells on the paper and actually get very depressed and angry. And given sort of even part what I've just told you, I can assure you right now, it might look somewhat casual, but people are really losing their minds. They're really panicking right now. It's not even down to seeing
Which people are you talking about? Talking about normal people, talking about
crazy
people, the psychopaths.
Well, no, I guess you would decipher the differences. A psychopath would be those who are on TV screens trying to sell these lies to you. A psychopath would be...
So those are the ones who's talking about losing their minds, or you're talking about...
General population.
Okay, the general population, yes. It's quite possible that in this framework that obviously the illogic of everything that's coming down the pipeline with regard to the lack of funding in people's back pockets, headlines from the Bank of England, the economy, people's security.
Given 80,000 to Turkey as well, recently.
What was that for?
They're giving 80,000 to Turkey for a car plant. But we haven't got the jobs for people who do.
The UK government then has given 80,000 to the government of Turkey. 80 million, it must surely be. Here's one for you. After a 14-year debacle of others who have also spoken in this room with regard to mortgage fraud and the actions of banks, electronic ones and zeros based on nothing, no gold, no silver, just lies and your hard work through generations. The HSBC Bank, out with of two other cases they've had in America, out-of-court settlements in the 700s of millions of pounds out-of-court settlement for the usage of using basically heroin and drug money and having contracts with those people at HSBC Global. HSBC still survives today, and two things. One, they've just made a 1.6 billion payout on subprime mortgages. And if you know what subprime means, it kind of means what it says. It's just sub, just shit. But someone's kept on at them for 14 years, and they've actually just settled out of court. And another thing that I happen to know is that the continuance of HSBC, if you happen to be a client, okay, you'll be forced into a new contract by September the 16th, and pound sterling, worthless pound sterling, so bank to bank in the UK in the same currency, will now cost you to pay your rent an extra £20 fee just to click a button. Now, I actually saw this coming at least 8 years ago. Doesn't frighten me, but the position we're in and mankind is in, I saw a very long time ago, and so did some of us in this room. Okay, there's lots I could add, but I just want to tell you what I've observed just recently and to date. Oh, and on the back of that, yes. Guy Taylor made a fantastic innings on UK column on the 16th, 2 days ago, I think, 16th of June, I think. And he had, as per usual, because he's Guy and very apt at what he does, was able to take on a court that went full on, it seems, with Guy. With regard to baseless fabrications and accusations with regard to who's a witness, who's named, who's not, what's real and what's not. Guy explains it very well, but he also explains kind of with regard to your continuance anywhere stepping into commerce, a mobile telephone, internet, bank card, banking, and somewhat runs into what Paula was saying with regard to your privacy. That's why I had a conversation with a woman the other day who might imagine that if there's a vote of no confidence, if any vote, even, well, not for us, but for the people who believe in voting, that the Conservative Party might remain in power in the next phase, but the head of the corporation will be Theresa May. Highly likely, okay. And on the back of that there's the powers of investigatory bill, which is full on spying, unique to this country. It's everything, and it's already there. I know from experience that I can assure you the police gang stalk. Basically, they do that. There's lots of information. Oh, the register.co.uk is a good website to go to as well. And for other videos which I might relate to, go to Get Out of Debt Free or Mark Ceylon. Mark Ceylon spelled with S or C, there's two. And there's some perfectly good videos there to see what other people have said right here on this matters. But yeah, no, Guy's right. Guy's correct. What they're trying to do is point the finger inward to innocents, to masses of people, to keep their jobs going. Anything but what the gentleman, Mickey Summers, just said. There's loads of time, loads of money and loads of information to go get some very, very serious criminals. But that is not the duty, it seems, of the policeman. And just to remind you, all corporate policemen, their duties are to obfuscate and construe every single word that comes out of your mouth.
So they're there as revenue collectors.
And revenue collectors, abusers,
to assist bailiffs as well.
A terrorist.
and to assist bailiffs.
Why can't we have our own police force?
The Crown agents.
They're all Crown agents, and actually that's a very good point. You might want to look into Schaefer Cox. Schaefer Cox, yes, from Canada, went to live in Alaska. He was some of my first information that I learned years ago about these very serious and important matters that were thrust into. Now, he was caught up with because he was accused of being, well, his sovereign right of looking after himself, and also organising others within what the global government really hate the word militia. So that basically is a somewhat any community that actually, in knowledge, actually peaceful inhabitants who are fully aware that they have their own innate rights to protect their body. You don't need to ask permission for that. You also don't need to ask permission to bear arms, which actually right now is a massive issue in the United States, and which is what Orlando was all about. So don't underestimate it at all. Shave Cox is one, but yeah, why can't we have? Well, I remind you, you don't need to ask permissions from anybody.
I think that's also what the Joe Cox one is about in this country.
Joe Cox.
The MP that...
Oh, thank you, Mark. Yeah, the poor young lady who just got.
Allegedly.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Allegedly. There are stories sold. They're sold to the UK market through a very controlled media, contrived. And it's great to be in a room of people who are thinkers, smart. Seriously, it's great. That's all just...
Do you think that the killing of the murder of the policeman a couple of days ago was a false flag? Do you think it's changing?
I'm
It
not...
was an MP, not
No. An MP, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I can't now comment on that because alleged was put in front of it, and I can't speak from
Well, the thing
any
is, though,
knowledge
when
on
we
that.
repeat things, it's actually bearing false witness.
Yeah.
So
Very
that
good,
isn't-
Paula. Yeah, it is.
I'm
Our words get us into trouble. Our testimony, our testimony,
Statements.
yeah, it does.
I'm asking your view. What is your opinion?
Wouldn't want to say because it's so it's too early to say because
Well, you said you thought there's an agenda around it.
Well,
yeah, no, it's too early to say because if alleged is put in front of this, that means it's quite possible.
No, you can still repeat that because in Sweden, I think about 8 years ago,
2003 it was.
2003, yes, the same thing happened to
3
an
days.
MP out there just before a Euro election. So,
It's changed it all around.
yeah, it has changed it around
This
now.
feels kind of ritualistic.
worked for them.
to me.
Yes, definitely.
Right.
Yeah, we should ask who benefits from it.
Yeah, who benefits? Yes, yes.
Right.
We the intro was trying to.
It is. It is. It's really
like,
shocking.
what people construe as a good MP that represents
Right.
everyday people.
Timing always gives everything away.
Ritualistic.
And if the establishments, just as MI5, MI6, if they think of themselves, have suddenly found a culprit, or a local police corporation, you might want to always follow the money. What's come out about the one single man, allegedly, who went into a nightclub in Orlando, there were definitely connections with him, his knowledge and his training.
G4S.
G4S exactly. And actually that's in red, their logo is in red and black. Yeah, it's not conspiracy theory, all this is factually provable, but it will always be pushed away from people who ask these questions as a load of nonsense within the legal world, because that's the way they want it to be, because that's why it happened in the first place, and that's what they're trying to say.
Unfortunately, all these people and all these false flags are actually dying. They are actually being killed.
Yeah.
But being killed for benefit of a criminal elite.
I think
Thank you.
sometimes people are being killed, I think sometimes they're not. Because what makes me suspicious about the Lando thing is the fact that if 50 people were killed, they didn't show any shots of people lying down dead or any blood or anything. And I think if they want to instill fear in people, and you know what I mean, people had actually died, they would have filmed some of that.
Yeah, I just want to make that quite clear. Tom Crawford is present, so thank you for that. This is a corporate plan. People are dying. I never said people are not dying, but there are also in between the murders. Just nasty murders, there are also paid actors. That's all findable by many who aren't in this room today. Paid actors that have paint put on there. And Boston bombing was one, definitely was just really pathetic. But that was a stage theatre. And I know others been in prison for saying 7/7 in London was, but that's actually exactly what it was, because you're supposed to remain stupid and imagine that a man who openly, officially said that there happened to be a training drill on that day, so we were just lucky to catch it in the bud.
Just like 9/11, just like Sandy Hook, just like Boston.
Just like 9/11.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's insulting to live this way. It's truly insulting. And I just wanted to let you know that from us.
No, as I say, I think what's more insulting is people not being interested in what's going on around them. I think that is really insulting, that football takes precedence over a lot of things.
I'll say for the camera then. It is stunning and amazing, given some of us who have made massive efforts just to try and bring these truths to the world, to the UK. The passion, we've got problems, serious problems, because if the economy is purposely switched off, dipped, with a whole array of other things through July, August, September, I guess, isn't that right? This year, 2016, there's a vast majority, I have to say it, majority of people who will be entirely clueless as to what to do, because they love their internet, they love their phones, they love the running hot water in their house, they love their money, they only see money, and they actually, a lot of people I talk to, actually do not, they're in total denial about any
wrongdoing by the government.
no, well, I was going to say vibration in the economy. What we are coming into now is not something, even in the 1920s, that has happened, not in 1931 to 3, but this is a move to go global into a cashless society, and they're going to try it in the next 3 months. I've talked about this for 8 years, or well, I've known about it. And
Why do you think it's now? It's going to happen?
in simple terms, it's very easy. We're a lot of ways that way. What that means is entirely every transaction you will be forced to make to survive, because through the laws of necessity, everything has been taken away from you, stolen from your birth, from mankind over generations, which is why it's important to know that. Just to survive, people are going to either kill each other, as they're doing and you're seeing in Venezuela, but not on your TV screens in the UK. And obviously, the big electronic master, from wherever that data is held or used against you every time, it just instantly switches off any judicial reproach, if you felt that there was any anyway, through the Crown Corporation, a magistrates court, anywhere. That's what it's all about. Right now, having £20 taken off for £60 per week payment for DWP, you might want to complain about it after the fact, but basically you have to somehow survive food-wise, shelter-wise, and find the paper to try and argue that you deserve the £20 back. But it's just electronic ones and zeros. That's why really you should have worked out what's coming and positioned yourself mentally and physically before the next 3 months. Because cashless means total control, and don't forget, we're talking about whole generations of children that will be just tied solely, there'll be no cash, electronic, everything. Yeah? That's why I'm anti-New World Order. Okay.
Debt Free TV, in association with GetOutOfDebtFree.org.